All right, great. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Silicon Valley Health Institute. We've got a little intimate crowd here tonight. Our first fall program, I guess you could say, since September. That starts fall, is that right? All right. So the Silicon Valley Health Institute is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We're oriented around education. And someday I'll get this memorized, but until I do, I'm going to read it to you that our mission, our primary mission, is to provide credible health education to the public with an emphasis on optimal wellness, anti-aging medicine, and longevity. And we are funded by donations and your entry fee at the door, so thank you for that. You can also become a member for $60 a year, which is half the price at the door if you come every session of the year. And we also take donations, so if you feel so inclined and inspired, please speak to the ladies at the front or go to our website. I think there may be a way to donate there. I'm actually not absolutely positive about that. All right, important stuff, which I'm sure he can cut out of the video, is that so who here is this their first time? You've never been here before? A couple of folks? Okay, great, welcome. All right, and so for you and for anybody else who doesn't, never had the occasion to need it, but the bathrooms are out the door, go down to the end of the building there, make a left, and then keep walking until you see the restrooms. The men's room is first, and then the ladies' room is in the next wing after that. All right, let's see. I think I have covered all of the essential things. So what I'd like to do is open the floor up. If you have questions that you would like to ask, maybe some other person has had some experience with something that you're dealing with or that you have a question about, and this is an opportunity to raise questions on the floor. I do ask that if you do ask a question to please raise your hand and allow me to bring the mic to you so that you can be recorded for posterity. All of our recordings, I believe, maybe for 20-some years, it can actually be found on our website at www.svhi.com, right? svhi.com. So please take the opportunity to go look at that at some point. We get quite a lot of views on some of our programs, and we're really proud of that. All right, so who would like to ask a question of the group? Okay, right here.
I know a while ago somebody spoke about migraine headaches, but I looked on the website and I couldn't find it. Does somebody know who the lecturer was or any information on such?
Okay.
It might have been me responding to a question before the presentation, so it wouldn't be indexed on the basis of migraines. But one of the things that I found is that a significant number of people with migraine headaches have a classic pattern in their urine pH that precedes the migraine, where their urine goes alkaline to such an extreme that their body reacts with inflammatory mediators, and that would be things like prostaglandins, to emergently acidify, which then the symptoms go from the pre-migraine prodromal kinds of things like lightness in the head and maybe even sparkles of vision, and then once the acidification takes place, the migraine moves into the pain and light sensitivity and sound sensitivity stages. So if you can recognize that pH pattern, then you have a potential of intervening and learning how to stop it. Does that sound familiar? Okay.
Well, I think one of the things I've heard is like maybe go drink a soda to interrupt the process. Is that not something worth trying? Inadequate? Okay. All right. All right. Something I thought I heard. All right. Any other questions people like to bring to the floor? Okay.
I may have missed part of your answer, Steve, but so you see this pattern in the urine, but nobody's going to be like monitoring their urine every hour to look for that. So aside from that, what recommendations do you have for is there any other way to identify that it might be coming, and what do you recommend as a way to address it quickly?
I've noticed that it's a problem that occurs in people with a general hypometabolic state, that there's a lack of cellular energy production. And so anything that you can do to raise your metabolic rate, I think, decreases your likelihood of having a migraine headache. The same thing applies to, the same pattern applies to asthma attacks. So it's not just migraine headaches. Even people who have this kind of hypometabolic tendency are at risk for a whole host of conditions that are fairly endemic nowadays. And I think it's because there's so many different factors in our modern society that lead us to have low metabolism. Lifestyle factors, dietary factors, processed foods, toxins like lead and mercury, mycotoxin and endotoxin exposure, all kinds of things. And one of the most misdiagnosed problems, is, in my opinion, is subclinical hypothyroidism, where people have a lack of thyroid activity, but because their blood tests fall into the normal range, they're not diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and their doctors say their thyroid is perfectly normal, and so as a result, they never try thyroid hormone to see if it would go away based on taking thyroid hormone. So there are a whole host of problems like that, but you know, and one of the other ones is estrogenification from chronic inflammation. We live in an age where people are inflamed all the time, and that turns on an enzyme called aromatase that converts testosterone into estradiol and androstenedione into estrone. And so the hormones that promote energy in us get converted to estrogens, which lower and kind of put the body into a kind of hibernation state, and therefore in that chronic state we're more likely to run into migraines or autoimmune diseases or asthma or autism, those kinds of conditions, even Alzheimer's disease.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. All right. Oh, something else? Okay.
I just want to make a little announcement. Dr. T is not often in the Bay Area. He mostly comes also to see how the doctors he trained are doing and to support them. But in case somebody's interested in seeing him, he's here tomorrow. So I can even make an appointment for you if this interests you.
Okay, good. And you're going to be at this table right over here during the break and after the evening, at the end of the evening, right? Okay, good. Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, I asked if anybody knew about the M2PK test, and they said that you guys know about it. So I would like to get some information on that, rather than doing a colonoscopy.
So I got an interesting email from Kaiser, because I'm on Kaiser actually, and apparently they tell me they've sent me a kit. They sent me a kit. So it's pretty, it's not the same test? Okay. All right, I'll have to go read about that more carefully. All right. Okay, if there aren't any more questions, we'll move along to our first speaker.